Hey guys, welcome back. I missed you guys. I know I didn't really get to film too much last week just because I told you guys our research lab opened back up and it was just kind of crazy, but we're back to normal schedule, so I am back. So we're going to be planting some trees today near one of our fences, right where we planted our shishi maple. Now, ideally, you do want to plant things, probably springtime and fall time. It is a little bit warm to do it, but we do plant things all season long if we can get to it. The main thing is you want to make sure that you keep those things nice and watered, and just make a mental note that those things might struggle a little bit. So if you're worried, then you could wait till fall time to do any additional planting for this year. But like I said, for us, we do plant all season long, and we just really keep a close eye on things when we do. And you also, if you are going to be planting right now, make sure you're either doing it like early morning when it's a little bit cool, or maybe later in the evening. So not right at like the hottest time of the day, like I think I'm about to do, because it's getting really warm. But anyways, now I've mentioned to you guys how we are redoing our whole backyard. So when we got this house a couple of years ago, the first thing that we did is we removed all of the big trees that were here, because a lot of them were unhealthy, and so we thought it was just best to get rid of them. Now we've been really just working the soil, because it really is clayey back here, and so we've been adding a lot of compost and gypsum to really work in the soil. So because we are redoing this whole garden, the first thing I wanted to accomplish is kind of create a green screen around the perimeter of our property. I know oftentimes we can use things like arborvitae to, fill in and kind of make that green screen. But for me, I think it'll be prettier just to kind of add different textures of evergreens. So that's what we're going to start doing today. I have 4 trees that we're going to be planting, and I'll show you guys those in just a minute. But I think it's really nice when you are doing a garden, especially if it's a new garden, just to kind of put in your anchor pieces first, right? Because that way you can fill in those other areas, the gaps, afterwards. But I think ideally you want to put in your trees and your bigger shrubs, and then you fill in with perennials and annuals and so forth. So for me, it's super important just to kind of get our screen going. That way we can kind of see, like, what are empty areas, what other trees can we, put in this area. I have such a habit of just buying trees and not really having a plan for it, but I'll make a plan for it. So if I like it, I'll buy it and we'll just figure it out. But anyways, let me show you guys the trees that we have today, and then we will get started. Okay, so this is the area that we're going to be planting up. Let me get out of the frame so you guys can see it. So we're going to be planting 3 of these weeping Alaskan cedars over here, and these actually get 30 feet tall by 15 feet wide, so they do grow in quite a bit. Now I really do love the texture and the shape of these trees. I think they just look so whimsical, and especially how they weep. We have one in the front and it's like thriving right now, so I'm super excited about just kind of creating a nice screen. And I am planting 2 in the back and 1 in the front. That way we can kind of create a little bit of depth when we're like kind of seeing it from all angles of the garden. If I was gonna, you could plant them like straight in a row, but I think even just having like a little bit of front and back will create like I said, a little bit more depth when these really fill in. You could also do it the opposite way. You can put 1 in the back and kind of 2 towards the front, but I think this way is gonna look really pretty. And maybe I don't know if I can, but maybe I can sneak something back there, but probably not. Now we are going to be working on getting another fence. I've mentioned that before. So just kind of, you'll see, the one thing about this garden or this house when we got it, like there's like 4 different fences going on. So we really want to get one single uniform fence. So we'll definitely bring you guys along when we do that project. Let me show you the other tree that we're going to be planting today. Okay, so this is the other tree that we're going to be planting. This is a Skylands Oriental spruce. This one gets about 25 feet tall and 15 wide, and it grows 15 inches per year, which is pretty great because I think it will fill in this area pretty quickly. I love the color of this tree. I think like every time I see it, I just want to dance. I don't know why, I just love it so much. I wish it would stay smaller. Like this size is so perfect, but it will get taller, which is fine. But I think this creates, like, it just has such beautiful coloring all year round. I think it's a perfect winter interest. It looks pretty to me right now. And you guys know me, if I haven't mentioned this before, I love evergreens so much. Conifers, I just have such a big love for them. So yeah, that's what this area is gonna look. I know there's plants everywhere, you guys, just like avoid that. My backyard looks like a nursery. But 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 that's okay. So this is kind of how it's going to look from this view. Again, there's some more trees in the back over there, just kind of avoid that. It's kind of, again, it just feels like a nursery back here, just because I can't stop buying plants and trees. Every time I see one, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need that. And then I realize, like, wait, where am I gonna put this? So that's okay. That's just how I am. I see it, I love it, I get it, and then I'll find a space for it eventually. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and get planting. Okay guys, so I ran into a little bit of a hiccup. So we had a huge oak tree here about a year ago, and we had it removed, but some of the roots are still left. So I grabbed my little hatchet and I've just been kind of trying to remove these roots. Let me show you another hole that I started, but I think I will do this off camera just because it's getting so warm and I quickly want to get this done, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time, and I think our camera is just going to overheat because we're getting to about 90 degrees right now. So I'm gonna quickly dig these holes off camera, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so you can see in this hole, there's the root, and basically what I'm going to do is just grab my hatchet, and then I will just be removing these roots. So I just usually like go to the end of the circle and I just hack at it until I can get it out, and that way I can put in the tree without a problem. And these are in burlap, so they're not that big, which is great. So we don't have to dig holes that are too big for this area. But let me quickly finish these and then we will drop them in. Okay, so you see I dug 1, 2, 3, and 4 just right over, kind of going kind of in a straight line, which is not really what I wanted to do, but we kept running into so many big roots that I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and just do it this way. It'll be easier, and we can, you know, maybe try to plant something tall and maybe skinny behind it if we want to. But I think this looks really good. I didn't have to make the holes too big, just because, again, these are in a burlap bag, so the roots aren't going to be that mature yet, and I didn't want to dig too deep just because this area gets really wet. So since the soil isn't too great over here, you can see it's pretty clayey. I'm going to backfill it with a little bit of just some really good organic soil, and I'm going to plant these a little bit higher than you normally would. So I'll probably plant them about 1 inch above ground, just because we're going to be doing heavy composting over here and mulching, so it'll be just fine just to do them a little bit elevated. Plus this area gets super wet, and I don't want any of our trees to be sitting in a lot of moisture. So I'm gonna set my camera down again. Sorry guys, I do film with a Sony, and the only problem with it is it overheats quickly. So in 90-degree days like this, it's really hard to continuously film you know, our whole projects. But I think I'm gonna get a backup camera so we don't have this type of issue happening. But I wanted to show you guys this. I'm gonna set my camera up, and then we'll go ahead and drop these in. We're gonna add in a little bit of biotone starter fertilizer to each hole, and then I'll backfill it with some of the native soil and some of my new soil that I just picked up, just nice some organic planting soil. So here we go. This is some of the roots that we pulled out. So they actually weren't too bad, but there were some big ones. So that's what we pulled out. And then again, I'm going to use my magic powder, a little bit more of organic planting soil, and we will be done. Okay guys, so upon closer inspection, a lot of the burlap bag has been decomposed. So I guess I could have just planted them as they were. I did plant a tree once where it had the burlap bag and the tree never did that well. So from that point on, I made a decision to always try to remove it. So I did remove as much as I could, and I am peeling back some of this bark as you guys saw, just because I feel like things like this just retain so much moisture, and again, this area stays so wet or gets really wet, so I don't want that to happen, or these trees to be sitting in like muddy and puddly water. If you're not going to be removing the burlap bag, at least remove the chunk that is around the neck of the tree, just because oftentimes they use these plastic ties to tie the bag, and this can, this could eventually choke your tree, and again, it's plastic, so it's not going to decompose like some of the other material will. So just keep that in mind. I just wanted to show you guys that, a lot of it has been decomposed. So anyways, let's continue. All right, that's it for today's video. It's too hot. Bye-bye. Just kidding. Let's talk about what we did today. All right, we got them all planted in. I'm so happy, and oh my gosh, I am so hot. It is like 95 degrees right now. But we got all of our trees planted. Now, like I mentioned, just because of the roots, we weren't able to plant 2 in the back and 1 in the front, which is totally fine. I think either way, these are going to have a pretty nice spread. So it's going to create really beautiful, just like interest and depth back here. So with these, I know they are pretty small, but I don't think I'm going to have to stake them. The root ball was pretty small, and the top of the trees are not very top heavy. So I don't think staking is going to be necessary, especially because I stomped down on them pretty well. So basically what we do when we plant our trees is we come right next to their trunk, and we really just like stomp down. So let me show you guys. So just with your feet, you just stomp down really good and make sure that it is really, in there secure. We don't really get a lot of wind either in this area. So again, I'm not worried about having to stake them. So I will be feeding these holly tone every spring and every fall. In fall time, you only have to do the half dose. But I will put a link down below for you guys so you can see what I like to use. But yeah, I think it's going to look really, really beautiful. I am going to run drip to these, but not yet. So what I'll do is I will water them 3 to 4 times a week until we can get drip to them. And then I'll probably put like maybe a 2 gallon per hour emitter per tree just for the first year, until they really get established. But I am so happy I got to plant these today. Oh, it looks so pretty. So here's the view from this side. So I did have to plant the other tree just a little bit further out than I anticipated, just because again, it also has a pretty big spread, but that's okay because I am going to be planting some maybe true dwarf conifers right in this area as well. So we of course will keep you guys posted and bring you along when we do those videos. And we will be planting more trees this week just because again, I really want to get this screen going. So when we change out our fence, everything is just going to look so beautiful. I'm super, super excited. Yeah, I'm so happy I got to do this today, you guys. It's so satisfying to see them in the ground. We got them all watered in. So again, I'll just keep a close eye on them because it is a really hot day and it's a hot week. So if you are planting any trees right now, just make sure you're staying on top of watering and monitoring them because they can suffer a little bit. So just keep a close eye on them. All right, guys, well, that's it for today's project. And I will be feeding all of these trees this fall, like I mentioned, with some holly tone. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this area grow in. It's getting really warm, so I'm gonna head in, grab a snack, and come back out and water our plants. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.